Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert here from the Business Awards Show, and I'm also the founder of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I am joined by Leah Boxell from Enablists, and Leah has a fabulous business that she set up in 2023, all around project management. And she's going to tell us more about her business shortly. She's already bagged herself a couple of awards. I mean, that's incredible in such a short space of time, including silver in the Best Business Women Awards for Best New Business. And she's also won a startup award with the UK Startup Awards. And if that wasn't enough, she's also been a judge for the Business Excellent Awards and the Surrey Business Awards. So awards are really part of your world now, Leah.
They absolutely are. It's been a busy couple of months.
Well, you're on the right show.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the beginning of you starting your business in 2023. So, what made you start your business? And tell us more about project management.
Yeah, so I have had a corporate career since I was 16. I went into the world of business and I've done a variety of roles, but I've spent about 16 years in project management. And I was really lucky in my career to work for some fabulous organisations. But one I'm most proud of was a company called NHS Professionals, who provide bank staff to hospital trusts. They're owned by the Department of Health, so they are a part of the system, but they're not a hospital trust themselves. And I joined as chief of staff to the CEO there. And then 6 months into her tenure as CEO, a pandemic hit. So we were front and centre to get people to the front line as quickly as possible. In the NHS, they run a command structure in crisis management, so a bronze, silver, and gold. So Nicola, our CEO, was the gold lead, and then she asked me to take on the role of silver command. So I had complete oversight and visibility of all of the initiatives that we were doing to stand up to support and bring people to the front line. And we had some fantastic initiatives that the business delivered against. So one that we were most proud of was the test and trace. If you remember, our first way out of lockdown in 2020 was the test and trace service, and you had test and trace tracers who would contact people you'd been in contact with, but you had a test and trace clinician lens who would call you as the infected person. We had that service that we were standing up, so we were recruiting the people for it and making sure that they were mobilised for day one. We had 21 days to do it. We had to have 10,000 people for go live on day one. So
Wow.
huge work, and the whole company did an amazing job. But that was just one of many initiatives that we were running that period. So I got to have the oversight and the ability to run that as a portfolio of change, to make sure that we were doing what we needed to do to step up and play our part as part of the pandemic response. And it's something I was incredibly proud of. I then decided to move on from NHS Professionals. It was just time after working for them and working crazy hours for a number of years. So to break some of those kind of patterns. And I had COVID for the fourth time myself. So I've been incredibly unlucky with it. And I had insomnia. And that's when I really decided to build the business. So if you had asked me prior to that if I wanted to run my own business, I would have said, no, I'm always the enabler to the CEO. I want to make them and help them do what they need to do. But it kind of dawned on me at 1 o'clock one morning when I had COVID myself that actually I could enable far more people by working and launching my own business and then helping businesses to do change and project management in a much better way. So that's where Enablists was formed. There's a lot of enable. It's a very strong thread through everything that I do. But what I'm trying to do is simplify project management, make it something that anybody and everybody can do, and try and uncomplicate, I think, some of the myths that have been around it. So it is about making informed decisions, understanding what's happening, knowing your non-negotiables, and delivering to an outcome, not just delivering to a project. So so that's what we're doing at Enablist, is helping businesses based on those approaches and techniques.
Amazing. Amazing. So awards, I mean, was that something you were aware of before you started your own business, or was this something that sort of came on your radar once you'd launched?
Yeah, so I've been a part of big corporate companies, and awards has always been a part of what they do. But for me, I think it was important. One, as when you step out as a new business, to kind of get that validation that you're doing okay, and that it's and that can be recognised. I think it was good recognition for my team, for them to come on board, because they've obviously come on board with a smaller business as well, so it's a good thing for them. But I think also you get to meet so many people, you get to meet judges, you get to meet other people at the ceremony. So from a networking perspective, it's just a great place to be in, and amongst. And yeah, we were so proud to have won 2 awards, and then also to be involved in judging those awards as well. So it's just been a fabulous experience over the last couple of months.
Amazing. So what did you think about the judging side? Having gone over to that side, what's your thoughts when you were judging the entries? What were you looking for?
So it's interesting. I did judging after submitting our application, so there's a lot that I learned about the process,
Mhm.
having gone into it. I think it's about storytelling, and I think one of the things that became really apparent to me, it was I was really new to judging, so I wanted to interview everybody that was shortlisted to understand a little bit more, and I didn't want to just take what was a written submission on face value. And my shortlist changed completely from the written submissions to having had a conversation with the person who's got the story. And a lot of people have spoken to me afterwards, and especially some of the awards that I've judged, to kind of say, what is there anything we could have done? You have to make sure, if somebody else is writing that submission for you, that they don't lose the strength of your story. It has to be the story, because not everybody does interview, and there isn't always capacity or time to be able to do it, because judges are doing this alongside their day jobs. But if you don't get that storytelling bit right, you're just one of many that come across. But also go the other things, don't use ChatGPT. It's really obvious when people have used ChatGPT to write an award submission. But yeah, it's telling the story. Why are you so passionate about what you do? Why do you care? What drives you, and what makes you an incredible company that you're going up against other people? So yeah, I think it's so important to do that.
So what drives you?
Adding value, enabling people, and making a bit of a movement. I'm on a mission with project management. As I say, I think too many companies don't think that they are able to tap into resources to help them. So we're really working with small and medium-sized businesses to give them scalable options that can make such a difference. Nobody can afford to waste money on projects that are going to fail or projects that get delayed. And actually, that shouldn't just be a way. There are methods and techniques that you can use to keep those sorts of things on track. And as I say, it does come back to being really clear on what your strategy is, what your goals, and what your non-negotiables. Because I think once you know all of that, then you'll make really informed decisions. And actually, sometimes a project won't go right, because actually it's just not going to deliver the result that you think it's going to. But if you know your non-negotiables, you can have a hard conversation with yourself and your team to say, is this still the right thing to go after? And you cut your losses before you would spend and waste even more money. So yeah, it's just really creating a bit of a movement, educating people on what options and the methods that are available to them, and enabling them to do it for themselves. So we've got an ethos at Enablists: enable, empower, deliver. So yes, that's what we want to try and do, is make sure that as many of our customers and connections are able to do this for themselves.
So what have been the biggest challenges for you going from, you know, a safe corporate environment to running your own business? What are the most major challenges that you faced?
I think it's the risk. I mean, I bring in a significant amount of income to our household. I've done the business completely financially backed on our own, so we've had no investment or anything like that. So that's a huge risk. And to be honest, that's probably what stopped me from doing this earlier on. I do now look and go, I should have done it earlier, but then I would have probably not had my experience at NHS Professionals, which I did absolutely love. Um, but I think there's the risk. I think there's also, you don't know what you don't know. There's no script or playbook to actually, this is how you go from a corporate career to running your own business, and these are the things that you're going to need to know. So you'll go across and you'll have challenges and you'll have bumps along the road, that if you could just kind of skip those, that would be fabulous. And it can be incredibly lonely. There's a lot that I want to shield my team from, and make sure that they feel comfortable. And the burden of, you've got mortgages to pay, you've got bills to bring in, and things like that. It's that only I feel that pressure and strain. So it is an incredibly lonely place. That said, I am so driven and focused that we can add the value to our customers. So we just need to keep going at what we're doing, and I know it will be great. But yeah, I think they're probably the main things. And yeah, you have all of the backing with a big corporate company. There's someone for everything. It's a lot of advice and guidance, but all of a sudden it's just me. So yeah,
You can't pick the phone up to the IT department or the
no,
station department or whatever. You got to
exactly, no.
so what support have you had? So you left your corporate career, you made the decision to set up this business. What support did you manage to get to help you?
So I have a great home network. So my husband is very supportive of the business and understands what I need to do. So we've got two young children, so juggling that. He also has his own business, so it is a bit chaotic at times, but we do find a way that works. My mother-in-law is fabulous with the children, so she helps out with us as well, which is a huge benefit, and we wouldn't be able to do any of what we do without that. But I think it is about having those people that I suppose are kind of my network and my people that I can go to when I want to just kind of talk over something. So I'm still in contact with Nicola. I've got huge admiration for her. So if I have anything I want to kind of talk through, I will give her a call and just ask for her advice on things. So I think it's just about leveraging those networks and speaking more freely. I've done a lot of networking around new business and starting up and things like that. And actually a lot of people are kind of going, yeah, I've gone through the same. So actually now you're kind of starting to create a bit of a network around how can we all support each other and finding those things. I think it's also about being careful with networking groups. I think there are a lot that they just want to sell to you, and I've had that, and I've had to walk away from many of them just because it is just a sales pitch. I'm actually looking for people where I can go and say, oh, I've kind of got this idea and I'm not really sure where to go with it. What would you kind of do? Or, can you support some of the content I'm putting on LinkedIn? And likewise, I'll support some of your content. And it's about building those things. Or maybe you'll make an intro, or you'll know what I do, so you might mention me to another company. It's those kind of things rather than just going to a networking event and being sold to.
Yeah, whereabouts are you based?
So I'm near Portsmouth. But yeah, I'm forever in London. So yeah. So
If anyone's listening to this though, and they have a support group rather than a networking group in the Portsmouth area, get in touch with
yeah,
Leah.
absolutely.
It does make a big difference. Well, I've personally had the experience that you've had where you kind of go to some networking events and you're just besieged by people wanting to sell lotions and potions and all sorts of things. And actually, what the most valuable stuff I've done is talking to other entrepreneurs really and talking
Yeah.
to them about their experiences. So, in terms of the business, so you're 18 months, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So what's the plans going forward over the next year, 18 months? What's your kind of next step?
Yeah, so we've really evolved what our target markets are. So we're working on those quite a lot. We're very passionate about user experience and memberships and all of that side of things. So we're pushing forward quite a lot on that. I would love to be able to help the NHS with some of their workforce challenges, given my experience at NHS Professionals. But yeah, it's trying to get in amongst those market. But we're on big growth plans. So we've got a fantastic team who, to be honest, I couldn't do any of this without them. They are amazing, and they are why I keep going when the times are hard, to be honest, because I know that they've got so much belief in me and the business as well, that it's amazing to have that kind of support behind you. But yeah, we want to grow. We want to build some communities and networks where we're starting to help people kind of navigate and see a way outside of the traditional methods that use in project management that, quite frankly, slow things down and prevent things being delivered. Help companies unblock some of the red tape and the bureaucracy that they do, just because they think that's the only way to do things. And yeah, just kind of really expand out on what we're doing and build some of those expert networks.
So is there any particular industries that you work with?
So we work in a range of industries. To be honest, what we can do is fairly applicable to all sectors and industries. But yeah, so we've worked with some membership organisations, and as I say, with the user experience, that's quite appropriate to what we do. We also do a lot around the digitalisation. So if you've got a company that is looking to transform, or it's got some old technology that they need to do something with, what we are able to do is do a lot of market research for them, understand what the options are, and then help them go through that process and actually deliver a successful project. So actually work with them, with the supplier that they're trying to onboard from the technology side of things, so that they feel like they've got better control over it. And then, as I say, I'd love to help some of the NHS workforce issues if I can get into that space.
Desperate to get your hands on the NHS.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I just know that you can make such a difference there. And let's be honest, we'd be lost without the NHS. And I speak to people all of the time, and it's the staff, the people are incredible. They just want to be able to do a great job, and they're stifled a little bit with the processes and the challenges that they face every day. So yeah.
Yes, red tape. Red tape.
Exactly.
I mean, I literally the other day had to cancel a blood test appointment, and you'd think that it would just bounce me another link to book a fresh appointment, wouldn't you? No. So
Yeah.
I then had to send an email via the email portal to the surgery to ask them to send me another link, and that took 2 days.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not
Right.
the people that are at the front of doing that. It's that the whole process needs to be looked at end to end. And I often say, and I did this in another podcast actually. I said if the NHS was treated as a business and we as patients were treated as customers, what would that end to end journey look like? And it would be that we wouldn't want to be waiting for appointments that might be for serious things and are going to cause concern and all of that sort of stuff. So there would be a whole different, I think, approach and mindset taken to it if it was looked at like that way. But yeah, it's run as separate hospital trusts and lots of different ways of working and separate I suppose separate teams and departments within the hospital trust. So so it's difficult for them
But
at the
how do
moment.
businesses find out about you? Do you get your leads through things like LinkedIn and your website, or is it referrals or a mixture?
Yeah, it's a complete mixture, to be honest. So my team have me out on the road networking a lot, so I go to quite a few things on that. We're really active on LinkedIn. So on my profile we give quite handy tips. I'm a big believer on giving information and advice for free. So we do give a lot of tips out. Our website, we do run some workshops. So we run some really great workshops. And that's building that community. So that's creating that movement where we're just trying to help people to be able to do their jobs. And we do them at prices where, as an individual of somebody that works at a corporate company, it would be affordable for you to be able to pay for yourself if your company wouldn't pay for it. So so we've got a whole range of ways to get involved and see us.
So essentially, what I'm getting is that if your business processes are in a bit of a muddle and they're not very streamlined and things are a bit bitty and not very joined up, that
Yeah.
somebody could come to you and you would review the processes that are going on in the business, or you would look at an overall project that maybe they're doing, and that you would then go, well, actually, you can do this, this, and this, and that will improve either your experience or your customer's experience or both. Yeah,
Yeah,
have I got that right?
exactly that. We fix the chaos is where we go. Yeah.
Fix the chaos. I love it. That's a
Yeah,
really
and
good.
we're trying to we find we fix the chaos. We want to do is prevent the chaos. So we want to help people with the knowledge of what it is to do, so they don't end up in the chaos and they haven't cost themselves loads of money. But at the moment, we tend to find we fix the chaos. That's what we're trying to do.
So let's talk about the UK Startup Awards, because they're quite a prestigious set of awards for new businesses.
Yeah.
So you won. What category did you win in that?
So it was the regional, so for the Southeast, the management consultancy. So we were absolutely thrilled. I remember the day we found out. I was in London with one of the team when it got announced, and yeah, it was amazing to hear that we'd won that.
Good. And you must have felt really proud.
Yeah, yeah. And we were up against some tough competition. You know what you do? You check it out, don't you, as to who else you're up against. So so it was really exciting to hear that.
And did you enjoy getting your silver at the Best Business Women
I
Awards?
did. I loved it, and it was such a fabulous evening, putting on the nice dress and all of that sort of stuff. So it was a fabulous evening.
And have you maximised your awards this year? Have you got some press releases out and things like
Yeah,
that?
Yeah, so with both that we won, we've done press releases, and we've made sure that we've shouted about it from the rooftops, quite frankly. Yes, we've done that, but and we've also what it's enabled us to do this year with that and the judging. We've got a whole kind of strategy for next year as well as to kind of what we're going to do and how we're going to go into things to approach it as well. Yeah, so it's been really exciting. But yeah, we have shouted from the rooftops about the awards.
Do you think it actually has helped gain new customers and greater visibility?
Yeah, so I think it does. I think it creates that visibility, but also creates that I suppose it's that perception and that trust that actually people are acknowledging what you do and the services and the products. So because obviously, as you know, you go through rigorous processes in judging. It's not an easy process to go through. And so with as part of that, obviously that does create that kind of, I suppose, that trust element. And so those conversations, and I get all sorts of messages from people that I don't know congratulating me on the achievements that we're making. So that's always lovely to hear as well.
And how did the judging come about with the Business Excellence Awards and the Surrey Business Awards? How did that come to your door?
Yeah, so somebody recommended me into Surrey Business Awards, and so I judged the Professional Services Award for them, and they recommended me in, which was fabulous. And then to be honest, it was just a bit like the floodgates open. Once people found out I was doing that, they were like, "Oh, okay, well, here's another awards." And I mean, it was lovely to do the Lloyd's one because I actually judged the Enabler Award, and obviously being an ableist, it couldn't have been any more perfect. So yeah, so that was really good. So yeah, so and it's just open floodgates, but I absolutely loved it, and they had completely different approaches. The Lloyd's one, they do a Dragon's Den interview style, where you have all of the finalists come into a room and present Dragon's Den pitches to you, which yeah, I just loved that. Loved getting. I'm a nosy person by nature anyway, and that's why project management and PMO is the best job for me because I can ask lots of questions. But that's why I love the judging process as well.
So you're going to continue with that for next year?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. I think
Brilliant.
I'd miss it if I didn't do it.
No, but that's good because I think when we were chatting before we took the interview live, we were saying that actually it gives you a great insight to what other people are putting into entries as well.
Yeah.
And you're kind of you also using awards as a networking opportunity, aren't you?
Exactly that. I mean, I've built some great relationships off the back of the two awards that I judged, but also the awards that we've been in. We've made some great relationships with people that it's not just about sales. And that's the thing with me. It's not about, oh, can I sell to you? It's about actually, can I make sure that you're aware of what we do so that when you know somebody, you're able to say, Enablists are the people you need to speak to. So it's creating that awareness. But also I can then recommend people in. So I'll have my own customers that need things from other people. So it means that I can then go, oh, I've met that person through that process. And I've had quite a few conversations with them, and they are the people you need to bring in. So yeah, really creating that network is definitely helps so much.
So are you doing any speaking? Because if you're not, you probably should be on this topic.
Yeah, so the plan is to. Yeah, so I've got to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. So whilst it's been okay here, the minute you go on stage, the nerves kind of set in. So but yeah, the plan is to get more into that space. The team are pushing me. They're telling me I need to get out on stage and go and do far more. So that is the plan for next year as part of our strategy.
Well, I think there's a lot of knowledge you would be able to share with business owners because I think you're one of those services that perhaps people don't really know that you even exist. And it's kind of like educational of there are businesses out there that can literally turn your company around and you're probably quite a best kept secret maybe
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, you can keep telling everyone that. That's great.
So, if someone's listening to this episode and they're sort of thinking of starting a business because you're so
Yeah.
fresh, you're a freshly baked business, let's call you that. Um, what advice would you give them? What would you say?
So I would say be really clear on, and this is what I plotted that evening when I had insomnia with COVID, is what is your product, and what is your strategy of your goals. Understand some of the people that you think you might be able to get to work with you, because the biggest thing with a business is there's only so long that you'll be able to do every role and wear every hat. So you're going to have to know who are the people that you could bring in to help you, that you can trust, that will help you build that business up and will be as invested in it as you. um, Find a good accountant that wants to business partner with you. I didn't have that in the beginning, and it cost me financially a lot. So find a good accountant that will hold you to account and will work with you as part of your business. And know what your strengths are. So if you're not great at doing websites and content, don't invest too much in doing that yourself. Actually try and save some money to work with people that are able to do it, because you'll just redo things. But be really clear on what your proposition is and what your route to market is, identifying those potential customers, and those sectors and industries that you can work with, and then come up with a plan as to how you're going to get to those people, because you're not going to just do it in one way. If you're relying on LinkedIn, it's just not going to work, because the algorithm is so difficult to crack. So you've got to have a number of different methods as to how you're going to reach out to people and get in front of them. And yeah, you almost want to be the point. Somebody came to us for a recent proposal, and it was somebody I knew from a long time ago, and they said, "Oh, reach out to Leah at Enablists, because to be honest, she just keeps popping up everywhere." And that needs to be the strategy, I think, for selling your business, is that you just need to just be a bit of everywhere so that people can't help but notice you.
And would you suggest someone coming to work with you from that early stage startup? Because presumably you could get them with the right systems to begin with, instead of untangling the spaghetti that we all end up with.
Yeah, and that goes back to that prevent the chaos rather than fix the chaos. So for us, it's not. I think when people think about project management, they think, oh, it's a big scale project. Actually, setting up a business is a project. It's how are you going to do that? How are you going to make sure you're not wasting your money? How are you going to make sure that you're going to go to market at the right time? All of those sorts of things. So yeah, and we have packages that are very tailored to small people with not massive budgets, that offer the guidance and things like that. And that's one of the things I'm really passionate about, as I say, is creating that network and the tools that are available for all, so that we have got scalable options and packages. But yeah, I think I treat most things in my business as a project, so that it helps me kind of keep to account. And actually, if the budget's going over what I initially thought, then I'm able to kind of go, what are my non-negotiables? Am I still doing this? Or actually, do I think it's not going to deliver me the value that I'm trying to get to? And then I'll stop and not waste any more money. So yeah, I think that mindset's so important to have.
Brilliant. Well, it's been lovely chatting to you.
Thank
I
you
think
so much for having me.
you've taken us into a world that, as I said to you, I don't think every business knows there are companies like yours that can help them streamline everything and get things sorted out for them. Because, I own a marketing agency as well, and I often work with businesses that are in a bit of a pickle. And everything's a bit all over the place. They've got this bit here and that bit there and da da da
Yeah,
da. And oh, goodness me. And sometimes you have to sort of untangle it all. It's like when you see all the wires that are trailing out of a computer and things,
exactly that.
like, oh my goodness me, where do we
Yeah,
start?
but that's where we thrive, and I think that's the thing. That is the absolute. We're able to kind of understand what is it you're trying to achieve. Okay, right. These three things are going to get you there. Everything else is just a distraction. So don't worry about that for the moment. And we'll come to that once you've sorted those three things that are a priority first. And that
Mm,
helps with teams, because there's only so much that when you're trying to do all of this stuff within your business and with your teams, there's only so much that people can take on top of their BAU job. People don't have loads of capacity, because otherwise you probably wouldn't have them working full time. So then to ask them to take all of these extra things that you're changing, that you want to do, that new technology or new shiny objects that you're finding, it massively impacts their well-being as well. So yeah.
Leah, your passion comes across.
Oh, thank
Really,
you.
really does. And we'll make sure all your details are in the show notes. So if you are listening to this on the podcast, you'll be able to find Leah's details on the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube, all the details will be in the description. So all it remains for me to say is thank you for joining me today. I'm sure we're going to see you again at the Best Business Women Awards. I have a sneaky feeling we'll see you, but we will watch your journey with interest and watch your progression, because I'm sure you're going to go far. So thank you for joining me, and I wish you continued success with your business.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.